Okay, great to welcome to the show the man himself, Will Jordan. Will, good summer for you?
It's been good, yeah. Probably a little bit more chilled out than what it usually is. 8 weeks have gone pretty quickly, but yeah, a couple of friends' weddings, bit of time on a boat. Not so much sun in the South Island, but you hard to complain. It's been a good break.
Yeah, 8 weeks. Do you still get into a bit of running and all that kind of stuff? You've got to stay on top of it.
Yeah, you still tick it over. We've got the Bronco at AB's camp next Tuesday, so the fear of that on your toes a little bit, the anxiety of it perhaps. So yeah, try and tick it over. Like you might have a week or two off when you first come back, but then yeah, try and tick over probably 3 runs and probably 3 gyms in a week. Try to get a ball in hand a little bit and remember how to catch and pass and kick and all that. So no, you want to still tie yourself over without while still giving yourself the mental break that you kind of need.
Right, so you've got Nick Gill just in your ear a little bit on Christmas Day, like you're just thinking.
You've got the fear of it is just there, it's real. So yeah, you got to remind yourself a little bit. There's a bit of an art to it, like, remember your first long or extended break you have as an All Black. It's a bit challenging working out, how much to train and where to find the bits and pieces, and you've only got a couple of weeks before you come back into Super Rugby in round 1. So it is a bit of an art. Haven't necessarily got it all figured out, but I've done a few now, so we'll find out next week, but hopefully it's going to plan.
Yeah, because I suppose you don't want to blow it too early either, do you? Like you don't want to be at a peak early.
Yeah, I mean, you want to come back in good physical shape so you're ready to play, but mentally you want to be able to get through to end of November as well. If you're in the All Blacks. So it's a long season, so you've got to switch off and take time with family and friends. But yeah, just keep the wheels ticking over is probably the main thing. Yeah.
You're pretty happy with how things, I mean, obviously there was the Crusaders element, which wasn't quite as good, but the way that you came back into the All Blacks, you must be relatively happy with the way that season finished for you on a personal level. Yeah,
I think, like when I unfortunately had to have surgery in February on my shoulder, I was looking at 5 to 6 months out, you're kind of wondering what the year's going to look like. So pretty gutting to miss the Crusaders season. Some obvious issues there, which were, tough to be on the sidelines for, but on a personal level, we were able to come back into the All Blacks and be a part of that group. And again, it wasn't a season that went completely smooth sailing or to plan, but felt like we got to a good spot around the way we were playing the game, and the way we were able to play in the India tour was, I think, positive for what's moving forward. So for myself, I was able to finally play a bit of rugby at fullback, which was cool. Again, not perfect, but enjoyed the challenge that brought, and felt like with each week I was getting better and starting to learn more about it. So pretty pumped up about what this year can bring for me, but also the teams I'm involved with, starting off with the Crusaders.
But what did you learn from Test fullback play that you can take into your Crusaders fullback play this year?
I mean, I think in a way, like you're doing a lot of the same stuff. Like I don't think there's any magic formula to it or anything that you're required to do differently. But I think it's just the magnitude of it. Like at Test rugby, everything's amplified. So little wrong decisions there, execution there shows up more. So I guess what you're trying to do is bring that increased accuracy or importance you have on your skill set back to the Super game and try and keep your standards up there. So it's been a while since I played Super Rugby, so I'm excited to get stuck in. It's usually pretty free-flowing rugby, particularly to start the year, so that's something that excites me, and hopefully get a bit of ball in hand and we can start the season off well.
Is it quite a good vibe around? I mean, we've had David Havili named this week, popular guy, everyone must be pretty happy with that. Yeah,
I think, David's a great mate of mine, someone that I'll certainly follow onto the field. Brings a bit of toughness to the group, I think. He's someone who can be pretty uncompromising around his standards that he sets and what he demands from the group, which I think is exactly what we need coming off a season where we struggled. But at the same time, likes to enjoy life, has a lot of laughs and enjoys himself too. So I know he'll bring a great balance of fun, but also hard work and the bit of grit you need. And there's a lot of motivation to try and right what happened last year from the players through management through to coaches. So it's an exciting year for us, a bit of a different kind of mindset heading into it from the bottom of the pack. And we're looking forward to trying to challenge a few teams and get back to where we were.
No one wants to have a bad year, but you've been through a lot of good years. Is it in a weird way an interesting new challenge for you to do something quite different?
Yeah, I mean, like it's not a position you want to be in, but when you've been playing the game for a while, you take any mental spin you can and try and take something from it. So the idea of going out and chasing the Blues and taking them on and yeah, trying to prove yourself again, I think, is not necessarily a bad mindset for us to be in. Brings a bit of freshness to it, and yeah, we know that last year wasn't up to standard, so hopefully the guys who got opportunities last year were able to get some more experience, get some minutes, that would have held them in good stead, and we're looking forward to seeing how they bounce back and yeah, show their best rugby this year.
There were moments, I think people were very hard on the Crusaders last year. There were moments, obviously, where there were large amounts of injuries. And we saw when Scott Barrett and we saw when Ethan Blackadder came back, there was, suddenly things got going again. And then, there were injuries and whatever else, and then it made it difficult. Those elements outside of that, the gameplay, where you saw the Blues being very physical, being kind of direct and kicking, do you feel like those elements are going to seep into the other teams for this season?
Yeah, I think to start off with the first point you made, like the rugby is a game of small margins, so like you say, you don't have to be too far off to be a little bit off in the result. So for us, I think it's about not trying to reinvent the wheel this year, not completely throwing out the playbook and trying to rip it up and do something different. I think in terms of the Blues, like they played a really impressive style and use their big ball runners to great effect. I think we've always had that element with our forwards, particularly around the set piece, scrum time, and Maul in particular have been a real weapon for us. So we'll look to use that, but at the same time, like we want to be able to use our back three, use our backs in general. The likes of Davey, his skill set. We saw Sevu Reece had a great year last year. Was playing some scintillating rugby. So we want to try and get him involved. So I think you adapt to the conditions as well, like in February, March, the sun's out, games are, when it's still light, that probably plays that style a bit more. And as you start to get to May and June, whether you're at Apollo Project Stadium in Christchurch where it's pretty cold and wet, then naturally the kicking, the more physical confrontations become important. So I think you've got to adapt your game throughout the year, but at the same time, it's important to have a style and something you can lean back on. And I think for us, like our set piece has always been important. And I think the ability to strike has been key as well.
At least defying Nuku is going to help that.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, we haven't got him this year.
Oh,
we've
that's
got him back
next year?
Yeah, he's next year.
Oh, that's next year.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, he'll be handy when we do get him back.
Yeah. He'll
he's
do
back
all of
in
those
June.
things.
He'll be back for the ABs.
Yeah. Now, I just want to know, because Bryn Hall obviously isn't here right now. I've heard talk about him being messy in the changing rooms. I've heard all sorts of things. As his flatmate or former flatmate, what did you make of his ability around the house, making sure things ran well? Was he a flatmate of high note? Where is he?
Yeah, it's disappointing that Bryn wasn't on tonight. I would have enjoyed seeing his lovely face on the big screen. Hopefully Kubota have been running him into the ground today, and no doubt his back, his knee, and the rest will be pretty sore. So sorry to hear that, Bryn. But I lived with Bryn for about 3 years. Great man, great fun to live with. Messy, I mean, like the word useless probably comes to mind a little bit. Like I don't think you've ever seen how old he was, 29, 30-year-old man kind of get taught life lessons by myself and Tom Christie, who were 22 and 23 at the time, quite like it. But Bryn did teach us a few things as well. So I think it was a balanced environment to be in. And yeah, all I say is good luck to his lovely partner and how they're going. I'm sure he's improved.
Yeah.
But we did have some good times.
Oh, well, she's in for a lifetime, so,
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. Okay, before we go, a player in your squad to watch out for?
I mean, there's always young guns coming through. I think someone who's been in and around the game for a couple of years is a guy, Jamie Henner, a lock. Got a bit of a taste last year and was pretty impressive. He's had a bit of a tough run with injuries. I think not going to be back till about March with his shoulder, but excited about what he can do. A great blend of physicality, but also great skills as well, which is important in the modern game. So, one to watch out for is when he comes back, big Jamie Henner.
Nice. Okay. And World Cup finals coming up. It's a few months away.
Yeah.
World Cup first. You've got to get through the majority of the play. But there's a squad being selected for a World Cup, and the selectors come to you and say you're allowed to make 3 picks. Current player, former player, coach.
Okay.
Who would you want to take with you on the journey?
I'll start off with the former player. Like a few people come to mind, past legends. I'll stick in the New Zealand game. I'm thinking of Jonah to start off with. Being a back 3 player as well, that probably reduces my chance of making the team by about 33%. Taking up a wing position with him, so as good as he would have been, I'll take him away. I'll go with
I think you're robbing Caleb Clark. I don't think you have to worry too much.
Oh, I don't know. I'll go with Dan Carter, I think. That 2015 final he played in, Wade was able to get the team around the park, the drop goal, the end of a great career. So someone I've always admired. So I'll go with Dan.
Yeah.
Current player, probably pretty hard to go past Adi Savia, the big pickup for Moana this year.
Yeah.
Someone I've played a lot of rugby with, someone who leads through his actions, powerful, explosive, and makes timely plays. So give Adi the sniff. The coach, tempted to pick the current coach to get in his good books, but we'll stay clear of that. I'll go with my first 15 coach, Guy Reese Archibald. Was at Boys High. Yeah, just taught me a real passion for the game around backing yourself, backing your instincts. Always been willing to, I guess, play what you see and not necessarily rely on structure too much. So that'll be important in a big game. So we'll give a shout out back to the grassroots and go with Archie.
Right, he did a pretty good job there. You're going all right.
Yeah, well, we'll see. He had a pretty good track record, I think. He was at Payne Boys before that.
Yeah.
Had the likes of Aaron Cruden and a few of those guys. So, hopefully he's happy with how I'm going. Probably get a text him around then to find out.
Well, he's up to the World Cup, so he's all right.
Yeah, true.
Awesome, mate. Hey, thank you very much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, no drama.